A very good morning to you. Today we're going to look at Proverbs 3, 5 and 6. Proverbs, the book of Proverbs, is so rich. Yes, a lot of it is to do with old things. Well, they didn't have all the modern things that we have today. It's incredible. All the new words we've got about memory sticks and data streams and internet and the World Wide Web and thousands of words and concepts that are not in the Bible at all. They didn't have means of long distance communication and all those sort of things. So how can it be relevant for our lives? Well, it's because it's wisdom, and the wisdom has principles to it, and those principles, mankind has not changed. Although centuries have gone by since these words were written, humankind has not changed. The heart of man is still desperately wicked, as the scriptures say it, and the principles are so important. So I didn't know whether to start with, right at the beginning of Proverbs it says, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of understanding, a beginning of learning, beginning of wisdom. But I felt we should go straight to this verse, which says, trust in the Lord with all your heart, and do not rely on your own insight. It's easy to read, it's not easy to put into practice, but it's a principle. It's a principle. And I was reading it in what I still think is one of the best modern versions of the Bible, which is the Good News Bible. It's straightforward, it's not flowery or elaborate. But listen to how he puts it here. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. That's the same, exactly the same. Never rely on what you think you know. Never rely on what you think you know. What should we put our trust in? What is the best mind that exists? And that is God. And God has put principles into his word. And he asks us to follow him and trust him. Trust him with all your heart. There's a lot in the scriptures about being wholehearted. And I think that's a good place to start. If you decide to follow Jesus, if you have decided, I hope you all have decided to follow Jesus, do it. Do it with all your heart. A thing is not worth doing unless it's worth doing well. Let's apply ourselves to following, not just drift along. It's not about drifting along, and doing whatever we want 90% of the time and 10% of the time, bringing God into our lives. Once we give our lives to Jesus, we should be wholehearted in our following. Put him first. Jesus said, put first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things, everything else you need, will be added to you. But here the writer, Solomon, says, trust in the Lord with all your heart and do not rely on your own insight. Do not rely on what you think you know. The New Testament in 2 Corinthians, I think it's 10:5, says, bring every thought captive to the cross of Christ. It's the same idea. Our thoughts aside from God are never really pure. We are the product of our upbringing, of our culture, of the way we were taught at school, of the way our friends and neighbours think, our family think. We need a plumb line, a measure to judge our thoughts and our thinking by. And the best place to start is by trusting the Lord. So that, in the next verse it says, in all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make straight your paths. We need guidance in this world. We need to know which way to go. We need to know the right way. Again, in the Good News Bible, it says, remember the Lord in everything you do, and he will show you the right way. So, this is a relationship between us and God. We do the trusting, the remembering, and he does the guiding and keeping. He will direct our paths. When you have to think about something and you don't know what to do, you don't know. Remember the Lord in all that you do. Think about, there used to be a movement ages ago. They used to wear, I don't know if they still exist, little bracelets that had WWJD in beads on the bracelet, which represented the words, what would Jesus do? So they wore it on their wrist to remind them at every moment of the day, when confronted with something new, what would Jesus do? It's remembering the Lord in all you do, remembering that we are his disciples, we are his followers. We are going to follow him through whatever comes. And he is the one who takes it on himself to guide us, to nudge us in the right way, to give us that unrest and unsettled feeling if we've deviated from the right path. And as we trust him, as we start each day, Lord, what are you going to teach me today? Lord, I'm going to read this passage. Please speak to me through your word. Show me your ways. Show me your truths. He will direct your paths. He will lead you in the right way. Don't regard your thinking as the best. Your thinking is secondary, very much secondary, to the principles and thinking of the Bible. Put the Lord first. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Let's resolve this morning, as we face today, to be wholehearted followers of Jesus, to trust in the Lord with all our heart, and not to trust our own thinking. Have a great day. Let's see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.